The Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Compact. Let's check it out. Suppressed. Right at 9 years ago, I reviewed the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Compact, based on the more original M&P design and not necessarily the 2.0, but these are still available from Smith & Wesson. Comes in a few different models, but one of the things that led me to bring this back to do a full review is that I have been, again, using this for 9 years, and it's one of my test guns. I do a lot of weapons light testing with this when I'm shooting at my home range, so it's not super loud, you know, at night. And then now with a lot of suppressors, I've been using them. But this is a handgun that I have put thousands of rounds through, and it's 22 long rifle. And it's just been an excellent gun. But we're also going to be talking a little bit about suppressors. Now this is the Banish 22 from Silencer Central, and this is the one we tested. So why would you want a dedicated 22 suppressor? You know, I have suppressors that are multi-caliber, and they can shoot all the way up to 45, but they'll also suppress 22. So what's the big deal? Well, one of the biggest things up front is that it's made for 22. It's a very small hole. You're gonna get that Hollywood quiet. It's gonna be really sweet to shoot. While the other is hearing safe, this almost sounds like a pellet gun. And while the Banish 22 is my personal choice, there are others out there. And this should apply to any of the suppressors you put on your small little 22 pistol. Because to be honest with you, shooting 22 suppressed is one of my favorite things to shoot, suppressed. Now I purchased the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Compact a number of years ago. But we really do appreciate Silencer Central for sending the Banish 22 for this review. Guys, if for no other reason, get a suppressor just to shoot 22. It's so quiet. I love it. Well guys, back in 2015, at this point 9 years ago, I reviewed the M&P 22 Compact. They still make these, in fact, in this same configuration. Now this is the black on black, it has a threaded barrel. They make an FDE frame, it also has a threaded barrel, and they make just a black frame with a standard barrel. Now one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this out is this is a gun, again, that I've had at this time over 9 years. And it is an excellent, reliable, accurate handgun, even after that time. And I'll tell you guys, I might have cleaned that one time. This gun has shot a lot of ammo. One of the guns that I use when I do a lot of weapons testing at night. When I put on a weapons light and, you know, instead of just waking up the neighborhood, I decided to shoot it with 22. Now, since that time, I've gotten suppressors, and so I'll typically now go with, you know, shooting suppressed, and it makes it a lot quieter. But overall, I like to shoot them without the suppressor too, with the weapons light. So there have been thousands of rounds through this little handgun. So before we get started, let's go ahead and we're going to drop our 10-round magazine, which is typical. We're going to check the chamber to make sure it's empty. One of the things about this handgun is the slide is aluminum alloy. Super lightweight, and that just allows it to function the 22 even better. And really this looks a lot like a cross between the M&P 2.0 and the Shield. Really more toward the same size as the Shield. Very thin grip, makes it really small. It is a compact version of your M&P with a thinner grip And really for 22, it's so light. The recoil is so nice on this. Now, it does have the polymer frame, and we have a Picatinny rail. We have ambidextrous frame safeties, and they are extended. We also have our slide release, and we have our takedown lever. The mag release, you can switch to the other side if you want. So it gives it that safety and mag release, but not necessarily a slide stop. The trigger is one of the hinge triggers, and you can see the safety. So as it comes back, you've got to really have your finger on that to be able to disengage your safety. There's also a safety here at the back. I'm not really a big fan of this. This is the Hillary hole safety, and they're still incorporating that. Smith & Wesson has done away with a lot of their safeties that are built in, and this just locks the safety on. To me, I like it to be simple. I'd rather just not have that, and you can disengage it. It also has a magazine disconnect safety. So with the magazine out, it's not going to fire. It just locks down. And so there's a number of different safeties, and this being a 22, you know, it's not as important to me as far as a carry gun, but still, we've got a lot of safeties. It has kind of an anodized finish on the slide. There are markings that are laser etched in white, even the Smith & Wesson logo. So definitely a different look, but yet it gives you that M&P vibe. And so I wanted to take this out, put a nice suppressor on it, just do some shooting. It's been a long time since I've gotten it out for review. You may have seen this quite a bit with weapons lights. We have one of the Silencer Central Banish 22s. This is a fantastic 22 suppressor. Now, one thing I will say about 22, having a suppressor for a 22 is a blast. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It makes very little noise, actually less than some pellet guns. So it allows you to go out without hearing protection and just shoot. It keeps the neighbors happier. And so that's one of the reasons why I do like my suppressors. I shoot enough here at the house. I have a range at my house. I try to be as considerate as I can, but sometimes, you know, it just makes a lot of noise. The width is 1.45 inches, and I think that has to do with the safeties. The length is 6.67 inches, and the height is 5.03 inches. So it is a small, handy, light firearm. Here with the threaded barrel, we just have a thread protector, and this actually has an adapter on it. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back and show you. So the adapter actually fits to a barrel that has threads. And that way, you know, even if you get the standard barrel, you can attach a thread adapter on there and to be able to put on whatever suppressor you want to. Unfortunately, according to YouTube, attaching a suppressor on camera is prohibited, which makes me want to do it even more. But here we've got the suppressor. It's a very small, short suppressor. It makes it a very handy package. I mean, guys, this is a ton of fun at the range. But one of the big things about these little handguns, a lot of times when you get them in, they can be finicky with ammo. Typically with this one, I break them in with CCI mini mags. Fiocchi makes their high velocity copper wash bullets that are the same performance factor as the CCIs. But we did have a few problems right up front. But once this gun breaks in, it just seems to feed everything. We had some Agula Subsonic 22 a number of years ago that worked, but it was a little finicky here and there, but the more we shot it, the more reliable it got. So if you have some of these and you're having a lot of trouble, just put some rounds through it before you get rid of it, because I'm telling you guys, we've found that over and over. The Walther P22, that's one that it can be finicky at first, and then after a while it starts to work fine. It just kind of breaks in everything, and it just seems to function very well. But this would be a great setup for even kids, taking kids out to the range, suppressor or not. You know, it's very lightweight, it's very handy, it's a small gun. Put the suppressor on there, it takes away some of the noise factor and the muzzle blast, and then it makes it really easy. And one thing about Silencer Central, it's really easy to get online. You can get your suppressor, they'll send you fingerprint cards, they'll do everything, they'll send in the information, they'll even contact the local law enforcement in your county. I mean, they do everything. They even set up a trust. So Silencer Central is really changing the way that people can get suppressors and get them very easily. Yeah, there are some other companies out there, but Silencer Central is the largest suppressor distributor in the country. So kudos to Silencer Central, and they did send the Banish 22. These sights are just high enough to where they fit right over the suppressor. And it's not a whole lot, but it gives you enough to have a good sight picture. So I like that because I don't have to necessarily have suppressor height sights. But again, guys, even without the suppressor, this makes a great little 22 to take out to the range, and it's just got that great look to it. It's Smith & Wesson quality, which is a top-notch choice. Now we're going to put in a dummy round. It's not really good to dry fire, rim fire that often. And so we want to test the trigger pull action. So again, we have the pivot trigger. You can see this, the bar coming up, and that is your safety. And so we have some take up right here, pretty smooth glide. A little bit of stacking or pressure. And then we have the brake. The brake is actually pretty crisp. There is some stacking right beforehand. Reset right about there. And we're going to check trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge. 4 pounds, 0.3 ounces. 4 pounds, 3.9 ounces. And the weight on the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 compact, 17.43 ounces. Guys, this thing is light. Got a big thank you to Fiocchi for being our ammo sponsor. We're going to be using some standard velocity 22. We've also got some CCI quiet 22 and Agula subsonic solid points. Just tried a few different ones. Guys, I've had the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 compact for a number of years. I've done a lot of shooting with this gun, especially when we've done night shooting, especially for weapons lights, things like that. It's just been a solid little 22 pistol. When I got the Silencer Central Banish 22, I really was excited about getting this out suppressed. It already had the threaded barrel, so it was really easy just to throw this on. 10-round magazine, but I've done a review on this pistol, but it's been at least 10 years ago. It's just a great little gun, very ergonomic and yet very small compared to the standard M&P 2.0s or the 9mm. So this, with this can though, is so quiet. I mean, it's just like a pellet gun. And that's the thing about 22 especially. It's so easy to suppress. And the Banish, you know, Silencer Central makes it so easy to be able to get one. And I'll tell you, it fits really well on here. These aren't even suppressor height sights. They're a little bit raised, but I have no problems just looking right over the suppressor to get on target. Overall, this is a great little handgun, but really the story here is this little Banish 22. Now they do make the K model, which will make it hearing safe, but it's still fairly loud if you're trying to be covert or very quiet. But nothing better in the neighborhood. And this little 22 compact just works like a champ. What do you think?
It's nice.
Super quiet.
It is. And just you hear it hit something louder than you hear the gun.
Sound like an air pistol. Now when it comes to disassembly, one thing that you have to do, bringing back the slide, is you have to take off the adapter to get the slide off. Unfortunately, I have lost the tool that goes to the adapter, and so I have one on order. So what I'm going to do is a full disassembly and cleaning that's recommended by Smith & Wesson of the M&P 22 compact. To be honest, that is one thing that some people have trouble getting the adapter off. So we'll see how that goes when we get the right tool, and we'll see if we can take care of it. Otherwise, this has been a great little pistol. The retail price on the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 compact is $439. Without the adapter, it's $429. And of course, market price is typically less. This has been around for a good while. It still has that original M&P look. But it's a great little shooter. And the Banish 22 from Silencer Central retails for $499. And guys, I highly recommend Silencer Central, but especially this little Banish 22 with all the baffle systems in here. It's really easy to clean. We have done a full review on this suppressor, and these are excellent. Now, what are some pros and cons? Well, it's super lightweight. I mean, again, it weighs about 17 ounces. It has a 10-round magazine that's stainless steel, and I believe it only comes with one magazine. It has all the features of your Picatinny rail, no red dot option, maybe on some of the new ones. Sights are excellent though, with the adjustable rear sight and the dovetailed front sight. You could change those out, but it gives you enough clearance to be able to put a small suppressor on the end. Very easy to rack. Being a fixed barrel design, blowback, you know, it's very reliable. I mean, one of the things about this handgun, and again guys, if you're going to take it out when you first get it, you may have a few bobbles. But once you shoot a few rounds through it, it really smooths out to take really any kind of ammunition you put through it. It's a very safe pistol, a magazine disconnect, you know, you have your frame safety. I'm going to give it a ding for the magazine disconnect. I don't like that. Also, with the lock here where you can lock this out, I'm just not a big fan of that. And then the last thing is the adapter. It is difficult to get off, and you want to make sure that you retain your tool, and that was my fault. But with the threaded barrel, it's excellent to be able to put on a suppressor. Texturing is fairly muted, but with the 22, it's not a big deal. The trigger is not bad. To me, this is better than the 9mm version of the M&P. Overall, a really fun handgun, very light, great for first-time shooters, great for those with little shooting experience, and then just a great plinker. Add a can to it, and man, it really changes your world. This makes it so much fun. So guys, suppressed or not suppressed, the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Compact is an excellent gun, and again, over 9 years shooting thousands of rounds through this, and it's just a great little handgun, a lot of fun, super lightweight, low recoil, easy to shoot. But once you add a suppressor, like this Banish 22, it just makes it a world of difference. Again, having even a larger suppressor, it will suppress the 22, but not like a dedicated 22 suppressor. Again, it makes it Hollywood quiet. And we give a big thank you to Silencer Central for sending the Banish 22 for this review. And to Smith & Wesson for making a really cool 22 pistol. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. And we're going to check trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge. No, we're not without a magazine in it. That dumb magazine disconnect. It's based on the original, okay, this is not the 2.0. But one of the reasons why, but now I purchased the.
About money, we don't need it.
I don't care, I don't get paid by these gun companies. It's just stupid.
I wish.
Well, really, if anything I want, I could talk trash about any company I want and still get them from Gun Zone deals. Or buy them myself. Man, I just wasted that having my dumb ear pro in. Because that is super quiet.